Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Shane Williams along with Lance Dobbs. George Porter's back.
Good evening.
Good to have him back. Hope everything's well with you.
Yeah, I was a little under the weather for about a week. It was a little touch and go, but I managed to survive.
Right, exactly. So we're starting a little bit later than usual. We're working on some AV things that we're trying to work out the kinks and everything. So hopefully we can, again, take that next level of...
Take to the next step.
Right, exactly. So tonight we got a lot to break down. We got Project Gotham Shield, which is a government project happening. We also have the war on Assange. George, what are you going to be covering?
Again, I'm going to be diving into the left's radical hatred of free speech and Berkeley's attack on Ann Coulter and one of her surprising allies who came to her defense over it. I was kind of impressed, and I wanted to give props where props due, but we'll get into that when we get there. But yeah, it's been a crazy week at Berkeley as usual.
And Lance?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So my two subjects I'm going to be basically covering. They're super short subjects this week. Yeah. One of them will be the housing bubble. Just where that's at.
And Alzheimer's?
Apparently.
I can't remember right now.
Man. Want me to write it down for you?
Apparently.
No, so Lance is going to be covering the housing bubble
there.
and then also the budget as well. So.
Oh, no, the government shutdown. Yeah, the budget thing.
Budget / government shutdown. So, George, before we start, I'd like to get your breakdown with Korea and stuff like that, just because it's been a hot topic ever since Syria, and just haven't had your input. So,
well, I'm a little behind the curve on it because I was sick this last week and I just couldn't stomach the news like I normally can. But given everything that I was able to see about it and hear about it, I really think this is just the little chubby dictator's attempt at sounding big. He's going to back down at the end of the day. At the end of the day, when we have a task force steaming off his coast, and it's all a lot of big talk. He's trying to keep his people motivated. This is in my opinion, this is the sign of a regime on the edge of cracking and breaking. They all kind of do the same thing. They all get very bluster. They start pounding their chests and talking big. And if he's smart, he'll play it right. He'll have America. He'll drag us into a little conflict. We'll beat him up, and then he'll ask for help, and we'll wind up sending him container ships full of food because we feel bad because we kicked his butt at something.
Basically, put the country into the ground.
Well, I mean, I think it'll be, if anything happens at all, which I don't think it will, it'll be a minor skirmish. It's funny how China has really turned, I wouldn't say turned their back on North Korea, but they basically said, you're a little too crazy even for us, and when it gets right down to it, they depend on our economy for their economy, and all they really do is get coal and give him supplies, and it's a one-way partnership for them. So they'd rather be buddies with us in the long run when it gets right down to it than North Korea. Because what do they really get from North Korea besides a lot of headache?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this guy's just running his mouth, it seems like. I mean, the most recent...
Excuse me.
Yeah, the most recent thing that he said, he's going to nuke us, possibly go after an aircraft carrier, try to missile that.
Again, I go back to, go ahead, if you're going to nuke us, you better be able to get one off the launch pad first. We all know what happened last week. They tried to launch a missile on their big celebration day. And, I mean, we haven't seen any video of it, but from all the reports that I've seen, it basically exploded seconds after leaving the pad. Now, with a rocket seconds, we're talking, it was probably a couple hundred feet off the ground before it just, self-destruct. Or it may have, for all we know, it may have just tipped over and blew up on the launch pad there.
Who knows what happened.
But I guarantee you there were some very nervous scientists just about then. I could just see him going, boy, he's going to warm up the anti-aircraft guns and shoot us all. Because that's the kind of nut he is. So
I mean, when he takes out his own family,
So, I mean, I'm not too worried about North Korea. I'm actually more concerned about Syria because that is a real wild card. They're already in a conflict. They're already throwing bullets back and forth at each other. It's open warfare, so it's easier to just shift to the left or right and shoot at a new target as it is to start a whole new conflict like North Korea would be. And I don't think they would do it because they have nothing to gain from it.
Right.
You know, and if they have any sense at all, I mean, just whatever task force we have over now. What is it? I can't think of the name of it. The name of the aircraft carrier group that's there. That's pretty much all we need.
You sent 2 more carriers up there, though.
They did well. Yeah, that's all.
I think that's overkill, like George is saying.
But I mean, you know, and the Japanese, they're not going to sit idly by while their neighbor builds nukes, because they've made it clear that Korea's made it clear that when it comes time to start slinging those nukes around, one of them's going to find its way to Japan. And they brag about sending one here, but good luck with that. We've been fighting that whole nuclear umbrella thing since the 60s. You know, we weren't too worried about the Soviet Union and their intercontinental ballistic missiles. We're not too worried about Pyongyang, who's just getting to the nuclear game here in 2017.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's just very frustrating, you know, and at the brink of this quote unquote war, you know, who's actually, you know, who knows what's going to come of this? Hopefully nothing. Hopefully it's more saber rattling at the end of the day. So.
You know, I honestly believe that's what most of it is. It's a lot of saber rattling. It's a lot of positioning for deals.
What does saber rattling mean?
It's just posturing from a position of strength. You know, look at me. If you mess with me, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it's just a bunch of generals standing around telling the other generals how they're going to whoop each other's rear end in a war, in order for the diplomats to get a better position.
Right, that's true.
Which is what we want. We want the diplomats to work this out. I really don't want us to go into a shooting war with North Korea.
I don't think nobody wants it, you know?
You know, I mean, we have a lot of troops in North Korea. I mean, South Korea, sorry, in Korea. You know, the 40th ID that I know for sure is tasked for South Korea. We have a lot of troops there. I mean, it's not common knowledge. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how many American soldiers we have in South Korea, just for this very occasion. I mean, they're the only place that's they're still having essentially open combat over the DMZ. So they still shoot at each other occasionally, and North Korea has been known to lob artillery shells into neighboring villages in South Korea as a show of force. So. And it hasn't. None of that has erupted into a shooting war. This is just a bunch of posturing, I hope. But if it's not, well, too bad for the little chubby guy, because he's going to wind up losing in the end.
Well, it's almost a suicide mission at this point. You know, if he continues down this path, I truly believe it's a suicide mission in his effort to try to show the world that, hey, this is what I got. You know, what's bigger than the other. But I mean, it's just the point where. It's a suicide mission, and the ultimate people, like I said last week, is going to suffer is the people in North Korea.
No, I think it's more of somebody who's believing their own propaganda.
Or that too.
Much like this last election, where they all thought they were going to win because their own polls said they were going to win. You fall to that trap of believing your own hype. He's believing his own hype. The missiles that they had on parade were noticeably fake.
Right.
You know, I mean, they were cartoonish, by all respects. I did get to see a little bit of that on the TV. I wasn't even sure I was watching the news there for a little bit. They looked so bizarre. But yeah, I mean...
They did look like cardboard cutouts. Yeah. Even the soldiers in the tanks.
I mean, it's not uncommon for communist and socialist countries to fake what they have in their military arsenal, because they know we're watching. You know, I mean, the Iranians a few years back released this a prototype of this massive tank that they were going to use on us. And the photos of it were clearly obvious that it had tires underneath it. It was sitting on the back of a trailer, but it was sitting on a truck. It was a cardboard cutout. So these kind of countries, they're prone to these little tricks because it's all propaganda.
Right.
Or as we call it here in this country, fake news.
Oh.
Fake news.
That exists?
It's called propaganda.
Right, exactly. I mean, as the public would just have to see and watch what was going to happen in the next coming weeks of this North Korean thing. I think by putting all the boats and everybody's on their borders, they might accidentally provoke a war. You know, feeling like a cat cornered.
Well, I mean, you do have
know,
Russia's at the north.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Holding
So
their border, that's such a North Korea.
it's going to come to a point where the ocean's filled up with boats. Everybody's on their border with tanks. And now he's going to feel like a cornered cat, and so we all know what a cornered cat does.
Well, China will step in and say, "Listen,
We'll
Kim,
take care of it.
You're going to have to. Everyone's going to have to stand down." China will have to be the key to this because
Yeah.
they have the most interest in keeping it from going hot because they don't
What
want.
if we get the other equation and China pushes it?
Then China. Then I would if China actually accelerates this thing as a strategic move. I would venture to bet that North Korea becomes part of China.
Yeah.
They would just walk in and go, "Okay, we've let you be in charge of this little peninsula for a while. You've messed it all up. We're going to come in and take over. We'll still call it North Korea, but it'll be run by Chinese
It'll
officials."
just be part of China.
Which is actually be a great move on their part because they just expand their territories. I mean, they're building man-made islands in the sea.
Yep,
Why
the
not?
Sea of Japan.
Why not take some actual real estate that's got an infrastructure, be as primitive as it is, as standing military? They could just come in and say, "Okay, you guys, this is the new uniform."
Right.
And the North Korean army will just follow whatever orders they've been told because they're so conditioned, and it's in such a way that they're probably used to commanders coming and going. What's the difference whether it's Korean or Chinese?
Right. It's pretty much the same style of leadership, anyways, to a certain extent.
Actually, if I was a North Korean soldier and the Chinese came in and took over, I think I'd probably breathe a sigh of relief.
Maybe, you never know. Oh man. So switching gears again, support us, ladies and gentlemen. The website's going to be stanshow.com. Share that link. Share the website. Share the link that you're currently watching to all your families and friends. Again, that's where we're going. We're almost up to 140 likes. Last show we got up to Last show we got up to almost over 200 views, and so we're getting there, folks. We are getting there because of you, and we thank you and love you just for that. And again, purchase the shirts, help support the broadcast. And we're growing every time, and we're getting a lot more people. So our AV guy Ian, if you want to show people Ian,
He came in and helped us out.
Go ahead and come over, Ian.
You take the cool man glasses off. That's cool too. So Ian, our newest member. Ian, welcome to the stand.
Do I fit in the picture?
Hopefully, I'll
You can
move
see
over a
us in
little
a
bit.
second.
But Ian, thanks so much for joining us. I know we were sort of late on this broadcast because you're working on some of the things, but we're going to get that fixed next week, and it's going to look a lot better. So thanks for joining us and supporting us, and
Thanks for having me.
yeah, exactly. So what do you think of all this stuff that's going on right now, Ian, with Korea?
Just gonna throw it at him, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
My take on it is, I get really worked up about it. Anybody that threatens our country in general, I'm pro wiping them out. So some people want peace. I don't think you could fix that. I don't think that this ever going to go away. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is when they get a little uppity and want to cause trouble, you just give them a good smacking and
yeah.
send them down their way, teach them a lesson. Only have to do it once.
That's all they ever do. You saw what the Moabs could do. 21,000
Exactly.
pounds of freedom. I think you drop a couple more of those over North Korea, I think they'll be done, silenced. So
Yeah, and that's what it is. It has to be dealt with. It's only going to get worse. Our troops, if we could prevent going in on the ground, maybe just like you said, drop a few
Moabs.
that's ideally what I would want, because I don't want to see our troops die over this. But I think something needs to be done. China could step in and try to keep peace. It may work for a little while, but this guy has an issue. This guy's crazy.
Yeah,
you can't fix
definitely is.
crazy. So
Yeah, you can. 21,000 pounds of munitions.
there you go.
So awesome, Ian.
But we want to thank Ian for coming in and
Yeah.
give us a hand with all the audio-visual stuff. We still got a few bugs to work out. Hopefully, in the weeks to come, we'll sharpen up our game a little bit, and we just want to say thanks. He doesn't have to come do this, but he volunteered to come over and give us a hand. And
Yeah, because right now it is a labor of love. So.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy it. Like I said, a lot of my friends are liberal, and we go at it all the time. So to be with a group of guys that are kind of on the same side is kind of relieving, and to just
And it
get
feels
it out
good
there.
that you're not alone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know? And so I enjoy it. I volunteer my time because I think it's for a great cause.
I
There
do
we go.
appreciate it.
It took me a while to even check out the show. Shane was every time he see me, he was like, "Go check it out, go add us," and I'm like, "Oh, I will," and I would forget. And finally, last week, I tuned in and I really enjoyed it. So the fact that you guys allowed me to come in and even help, and at least try to help. I have a background in audio, so I'm gonna do everything I can to get this rolling.
Very
it can
awesome,
only get
man.
better.
But remember, folks, we are in a bunker, so it is hard to get to this location.
well, you have to get through the minefield, barbed wire,
Yes.
and all our security checkpoints. And we are several hundred feet underground, if not underwater.
Man, swim with the fishes.
No, I meant financially underwater.
Oh yeah. We're definitely John Red.
But yes, do keep coming back. Check us out. Like Shane was saying, we're getting more and more likes. We should get a lot more likes this week now that I'm back. Just thought I'd throw that in there. No, just having fun. But no, I really missed it. I
I'll say
hated
Ian, but whatever.
he's big help too. I really missed being gone for those 2 weeks. It was tough to watch Shane constantly futz with my microphone. But other than that, but this is a fun thing to do. We do this because we love it and we want to share with the people that we know, and we want them to be involved because I think the world is changing. It's getting a little bit darker out there as far as the politics. The Marxists and the anarchists are on the march, and we have to stick together. We have to let each other know that we're here because they want us to feel alone. Like Ian was saying, they want us to feel alone, like we don't have friends that we can speak to freely. They want us to feel alienated so that we think we're the only ones, so that we won't, and I hate to use the word resist, so that we won't speak up, we won't resist, but there are more of us than them.
Right.
They are just a loud, noisy minority of Molotov throwing hoodlums that...
Well, they all have the same kind of stuff that they wear.
Yeah,
They've even announced and agreed to it that they're all going to be wearing the black masks, black hoods, black everything. So.
Well, I got a link from one of our viewers. It's sent me a link about a website that they had where they were selling concealed knives and belt buckles, and it said right on there, take these with you to rallies to cut conservatives. They were selling weapons to incite violence. Now they since have taken it down, and I want to thank the viewer for sending me that link because that kind of stuff's out there. It's this underbelly of subversiveness that they've got going, and it's because the previous administrations that have been in power have not only not cared about it, they've encouraged it.
Right, exactly.
So
because everyone's a unique snowflake.
No, you're not a unique snowflake. You're just like the rest of us. Get off your butt and go to work. If you got enough time to tip over a garbage can, set it on fire, and throw it through the windows of Starbucks, you got time to go get a job and become a productive member of society.
Which Starbucks supports you, by the way?
Most companies wouldn't want those kind of people working for them anyway. So.
Well, when you stop throwing garbage cans through a store window, you're not one of those people anymore. You can get a real job.
Right, exactly.
But they are going to gain strength, and they're going to continue to roll and gain momentum unless we identify with each other that we're here and that we can do something to stop it. Do whatever you can. Find a friend. Like we found it. We found another compatriot right here. We found another person who's on the same page. And if he finds another person, and Lance finds another person, and Shane finds another, we grow
Exponentially.
Exponentially. That's the word I was going to have trouble finding.
Geographically. That's the
Geomorphically or something like that. But yeah, exponentially we grow. But we're already out there. We just have to find each other. And if you do find someone, talk to them. Encourage them. Make them feel unalone. You know, that's their weapon they use against us, is making us feel alienated, like we can't affect any change. And we can affect change. Because there are more of us than them.
Right. I mean, you saw it.
The
You saw it at Berkeley.
Well, the election of Donald Trump proves it.
Well, that also, you know. But Berkeley, I don't know if you've seen the videos yet. The riots and everything.
Are these the newer ones?
Yeah, the newer ones. Of this time around, and you see what happened there, folks. It was a bunch of, you know, the anti-fascists, whatever they call themselves now, going after the pro-Trump people, and you know, just like everything else. Yes, we're conservative. We take a lot. But there's a certain point where we break and we start going, you know, we fight back. And that's what we saw at the UC Berkeley rally over the last, what was it, week and a half ago now?
Well,
and you just see them, you know, they can only take so much. And then you push them to a limit and they start coming after you.
Well,
Look, the pro-Trump people, they're a lot bigger. They're not the little skinny little, you know, snowflakes that want to be all prissy and whatever. You know, these guys work out. They're armed. They're trained. You know, whatever weaponry, and so they have a more extensive background than just getting in your face and screaming and spray you with pepper spray. So you saw that if you happen to see those the videos. It was just I don't know. For me, it was a really good sight to see. You know, I sort of got raged off that whole thing. So
one of the things I noticed, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen the video of the kid getting hit in the head with a bicycle lock. Now well, I don't know what they call themselves, the anti-fascist.
they're fascist anarchists or whatever.
The anarchists, the hoodlums. They were having a discussion. There was a little crowd gathered, and you could see it in the video. He walks up quietly. He's the second row of people back. He just reaches out with a bike lock and he hits the kid on the head with his bicycle lock.
right.
Lays his head open, okay, and then everybody runs off. The guy that did the assaulting, he's immediately runs away. Like the little cowardly turd that he is, he hits when you're not looking and he runs off. They haul the
got
Trump
his head
supporter.
open.
The guy with his head is split open. He's bleeding profusely, and if you watch the video, it's kind of tough to watch. But they drag him over and they start to administer first aid and they put a bandage on his head. And I noticed something the whole time. He was not angry.
No.
He was actually he was far more jovial about it than I would have been.
Yeah, I would have been.
So that is the pivotal difference. This guy did a sneak attack and then slinked
ran.
off and then ran, and this other guy took the hit and didn't hate him for it. Okay, that's the difference. Me, I can't be that noble. I think I would hate the guy, and I would be actively seeking
Vengeance
retribution.
or retribution.
I would at least be
exactly.
looking for him to help press charges on him. But no, as the people, those of us on this side of the aisle, what we have to do, we have to spend time out of our day to prepare for what I see as the coming conflict.
Well, this will be the civil war that they've been talking about for quite a while.
Well, they
now.
want one.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
want one.
No, they don't.
Well, they don't
they
really
don't
want
realize
one.
what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pushing and pushing, and it's eventually going to happen. So
But my point is, do something every day to prepare yourself or to better yourself for this occasion. Become informed. Find some people to rally with, and I mean just to have discussions with. Find other like-minded individuals. Go to the gym. Start jogging. Whatever it is. I mean, my philosophy is the gym. I hate the gym. I hate going to the gym, but the gym serves a purpose. The purpose is because vehicles run out of fuel and weapons run out of bullets. And after that, I am the only weapon left between me and them.
right. And you have
Between
to
my
be-
country and them, I will be the. If it's just me and an edged weapon, then that's what it'll be. I don't want it. I don't advocate it. But as
Right, exactly.
good soldiers, you have to prepare for it.
Absolutely.
Because if it's never used, then you just look good.
I just
pretty
want to
much
know.
it.
I just want to know how a bunch of anti-Second Amendment people are going to go to
Fight a war with a bunch of people who are pro Second
Yeah.
Amendment. Yeah, that's
Well,
that's,
that's
that's
I'm
been
curious
that's,
how that's going to go.
that's been the thing we've been laughing about for months.
Well, you know what's going to happen? Just be like North Korea versus the United States. You can look at it like that, you know.
Yeah.
But except that they're not as. I mean, they're just as crazy, but
Oh, yeah, they're just as crazy.
they just don't have the
Actually,
weapons.
Yeah.
They're just as
They
crazy.
might actually. I think the anarchists might be more crazy because at least if you have the weapons, you can feel gutsy about
Well,
it.
They did a thing after this last Berkeley thing where like they had their forums or whatever that they meet up, how they meet up. They're like, we're not winning, They lost this last Berkeley thing. So they posted that they're like, all these Trump supporters are bringing their motorcycle helmets and their baseball helmets.
Oh, have you ever been hit with a skid lid? A motorcycle helmet?
So
That's like a fist.
so they were complaining about that, and they're like, we need to start bringing baseball bats, and just in case, we might start bringing some firearms as well.
Yeah, they don't want to. They don't want to cross that line.
They were talking about it. They're talking about upping the ante at these at the next protests and riots.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I hope it never comes to that. I hope this all fizzles out, and these sniveling crybaby snowflakes eventually just go back to their Xboxes and go back to their
Mike,
sedentary
go
lifestyle
back to your mom's
at
basement,
the
man.
basement. But I can in good conscience watch it and not prepare or inform others to be prepared.
Right.
It's like there's an old cowboy saying about pistols: better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
That's
So
absolutely
if
true.
you're prepared and you don't have to do anything, no harm, no foul. But if you're sitting on the couch and all hell breaks loose and there's riots and you're sitting in your underwear and you're 270 pounds of slow-moving blubber and you can't make it up the stairs,
You got nothing left except for maybe a
Yeah.
pistol, you know?
you're just gonna become
So-
food for the riots.
So you need a bigger pistol than that.
I prefer longer range weapons myself. You know, a long gun would be much better.
Hey, Shane seen my trunk the other day at work.
Yeah,
Come prepared.
Arsenal or something back there. We'll come back to the Berkeley thing a little bit later. We'll start getting into the other news. But before that, again, share the links, folks. Share the website. Check it out. I'm going to post videos that are recent, and you can check those out. Share those as well. And then also don't forget to purchase the shirts. Help support us.
So next thing we're going to talk about is this.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll dive into that. Go ahead.
So there was this thing that was going around about April 26th.
Mm-hmm.
On the radio in some small town or whatever, there was a saying that was just saying April 26th, April 26th, April 26th.
Right.
And this is in regards to Project Operation Gotham.
Right. Shield.
Gotham Shield. And this is basically it's the government trying to restart the nuke drills, restart the bomb drills. What happens if the electric grid goes out? What happens? Just basically what happens in time of war. And this is supposed to start in Washington D.C. tomorrow,
Right.
and
And it just goes on to other cities by New Jersey and New York. And it's basically, like Lance said, a drill where they'll have EMP attack or nuclear attack or
but they won't actually be
doing it. It's just
It's just an earthquake drill like they have in
Yeah.
California all
Right.
the time. It's just them preparing for an event that could happen, and it's just prudent that they practice these things, because until you practice them, you don't want to try to get it right the day of the actual event.
Right, exactly. But we've seen with 9/11, Sandy Hook, and a slew of other these operations that happen, they actually turn into the real thing.
But the thing is that they don't put this out on the news.
Right, exactly. So why isn't this being on the news? You know, you have the Department of Energy involved, the Department of Defense, the Nuclear Detection Office, the Bureau of Investigation, FEMA, NORTHCOM. You have the State Emergency Management Office of New York and New Jersey. So, I mean, with all these agencies involved, and they know that it's coming, why, like you said, why isn't this put out into the news? Why isn't this a bigger deal saying we're broadcasting this, to...
Is it they want more shock value to see what the people actually do?
No,
or-
I think what it is there's the mindset in government that if they tell the people that
They'll
they're
be
having
prepared.
a mass casualty practice event, that the people will think about it, and then they'll be aware that there's a possibility that someday in their life there might be a mass casualty event. So they really don't want to. They want to prepare for it, but they don't want to panic the public, because the panic is a bunch of sheep.
Yeah.
We're a herd. If we start here, like you're talking about right now, people are already looking at it like, well, what are they preparing for? Well, they're practicing.
Right, exactly.
If you were in the military, you go on maneuvers. Doesn't mean you're going to war, but you have to practice as if you're going to. They're just practicing. Now, if they did it, and I mean, I don't see anything sinister in it. It's just them trying. It's a lot of interagency communications and working together. You probably won't even notice it's going on unless you're part of it. I mean, they used to have earthquake drills in L.A. You know, they had, like, one day they announced at the end of the day, we had the biggest earthquake disaster drill exercise in the history of California. And I was downtown that day and I didn't even notice it.
Well,
You know, so I think they don't tell us about this and they don't broadcast it because they don't want us to think about it. They want us to go about our day, and I want to go about my daily life. I don't want to worry about a dirty bomb. I mean, I do anyway, but I mean, I don't want to worry about it more so than normal.
Right.
they did a test run supposedly a couple days ago. In a couple cities, they knocked out they took power off.
Right,
Sections
exactly.
of the city.
San Francisco, New York, and LA were all attacked.
Attacked.
Yeah, but
It was
It was a controlled exercise
controlled
where they shut the
experiment.
power off.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. This was through a cyber attack through the government. So
it wasn't really a cyber attack.
well,
It was a mock
It was a
attack.
mock cyber attack that was done to show that
this is
there
what
are
happens.
there are hackers out there that can get through into the power grid. So, like George was saying, it is a test run. It is, you know, because I was in
It's
the military.
practice.
I was in the military. You know, we it's a joint op. You know, we
But
train with the Japanese, Australian.
the
You
thing
know, it's
is,
just
they're just testing with mass amounts of civilians.
But like you said to me the other day, Shane, is that the EMP bombs are probably more of a threat than even the nukes.
oh yeah, exactly.
But how
I
many-
see more of the because you got the power grid unprotected. I mean, you can go downtown to not downtown, but you can just go to any one of the power
I mean, all they
outlets.
got some chain fence in front of them.
Chain fence and probably a 7-foot high brick wall. You need to throw a couple grenades in there. If
Well,
you-
these little substations, you could knock out 5 of them, and they will be rerouted so fast that the people getting the power won't even know they're out.
They'll be
Right.
down for like 30 minutes
Well,
or so, but
Well, it's like, okay, so I watched this television show. I know it's a television show, but Revolution. Have you guys heard of it?
No.
Well, that's what it's all about. Is the United States
Oh, that's
had
right.
power grid taken out,
The power grid is out.
and everybody had to pretty much go back to like prehistoric days, you know. And you know, it's like that's real. How many people can't even pitch a tent or start a fire? You know.
well,
Most of them.
You know?
It just came out.
I just saw that thing.
Yeah.
You know where you're going. About half of the college students can't even boil an egg.
Right, or
Yeah,
let alone
exactly.
change a light bulb. So
Yeah.
half of the population, what we say, 80% of the population would die within the first week of EMP
which
attack.
I don't believe that would happen.
I can see.
Well, here's the thing
definitely
about EMP, which a lot of us are unaware of, and I could be talking right through my hat here for a second, but back in the 80s and 90s, I used to deal with a guy who had been in the Navy, and he said they have aircraft right back then. They could fly over a village and flip a switch and shut all the power off because they were not the AWACS, but those big electronic surveillance craft. They produce so much EMP they can shut power off. So, I mean, if we can do it right now. We don't need an EMP detonation. We just need one of these
Big old
vessels,
machines.
one of those big old aircraft.
So you
fly
saying
over.
we don't need a scapegoat? We just need a
I'm just saying it could happen at any time, and I don't know. I mean,
right.
we were mostly worried about EMPs in the 80s because an EMP was the after effect or one of the byproducts of a nuclear detonation.
Exactly.
So, you know, in the 80s, we used to freak out about being nuked all the time. I mean, I can remember every time the lights flickered, I used to think,
Oh,
EMP?
this is
Is
it.
this the EMP? Yeah. Come to find out, I just hadn't paid my power bill. Yeah.
So another thing about this mock attack, there was a part that happened in Vegas where they did shut down about 30,000 units of Henderson for a good like hour, just like day before this or day two.
But what
days
does that
before
do? What does that do? Does it, I mean,
They were just
if the people that they've shut the power off to don't know it's an attack or even a mock attack, they just
Now you
stand
got-
there confused,
yeah, they
waiting
were,
for the power to come back
They
on.
light
So-
a candle. They say.
Yeah, they light a candle and sit in the dark.
Yeah, I think this was like 2 weeks ago. I was sitting at dinner with my wife, and we were I was talking to one of my buddies, and he's like, "Yeah, I just ran over to McDonald's," and he's like, "They still had Wi-Fi, so I just dumped on their Wi-Fi."
Yeah.
I mean, but nobody really sees like, well, what was the cause of the blackout? Why is the power out? You know.
Well,
They're
no,
testing.
that's because 99.99% of the time it's because something exploded on a power pole somewhere and shut the neighborhood off. One time here in this neighborhood that we're in now, the power was off for a while.
We're in a deep bunker.
The deep bunker, yeah. But no, the power went off in this area, and we're here at the studio, and it was off for a couple hours, and we just waited for it to come back on, which is what it's going to do.
Right. I hope nothing comes out of this, but you know, you can't lead to wonder. Based on history, you know, 9/11 and Sandy Hook and all the other ones, could this possibly lead to something? I'm not saying it can, but you know.
Well, I'm not the conspiracy theorist. I can't read anything into it other than it's just an exercise for inter-office and interdepartment communications. That's the biggest problem. That's their biggest impediment is in the disaster is not a disaster. It's trying to coordinate together. That's what killed us in Katrina.
Right.
I mean, granted, the hurricane was terrible, but the fact that the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing probably caused as much damage as the storm itself. So that's what they have to practice. It's the logistics of it. I don't think there's a darker, sinister motive to it. Heck, I want them practicing this kind of stuff.
No, I agree. I agree. It's just, you know, hopefully, like you said, nothing comes out of it. So
what's your take on this?
On
You
being
learned.
prepared.
There you go.
You can never be too prepared.
What about Operation Project Gotham? What do you think about the government doing that kind of stuff?
I think it's a good idea.
Do you think they should warn them or not?
Absolutely. I think so.
But they haven't.
I understand why they haven't, but I think everybody should be informed. You have to be prepared for anything and everything, because you don't know what your enemy has. You don't know what they can use against you.
So it's a wake-up call, basically.
Yeah.
Just like
because what's going on in the world today is very real. Like North Korea is very real.
Right.
They really hate us. Like that's not.
No,
No, they do. The funny thing is, it's funny that it has to be said, but they really do hate us.
Right, exactly.
So,
and I don't think nobody really understands that. You know?
So
I'm
to
glad you
walk
brought
around
that
and be engulfed in our electronics, not knowing what's going on in the world, and something were to happen, you know,
Right.
it's going to be even more chaos. Like
80% of the population died in the first week.
exactly, you know.
Yeah.
So
that's a big number. I don't think that happens.
and I'm not and I'm not someone that's like go stack up on water and ammo and guns and hide in your bunker. I'm not even like going that far, but I think you need to be prepared for everything.
Right.
You have study what is out there, like what kind of weapons that could be used against us and what could happen, and be prepared because it could happen.
Well, or you could go the other route and be incredibly lazy and realize that that the AR-15 is the most popular weapons platform in this country, and that probably every 4 out of 5 homes have one. And just you wait till it kind of dies down, and then just start ransacking through other people's homes and find yourself some weapons.
There you go.
Save yourself $1,500 in the onset.
It's true.
But you know, there's that window of where you might be in a little bit of danger. But you know, I'm in the mind be prepared.
That's a good theory though. I like that.
Well, think about it.
To be a looter or not to be a looter.
Right.
Well, if you're going to be a looter, you got to wait a little bit till the looting's kind of died down, so you don't get shot. You know, and then go looting. Or you could just, you know, don't loot. You know, or you could just wait in your house and wait for the looters and just shoot them as they come through the windows.
Protect your residence.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Completely within my right.
That's true. All right. So moving on from that.
I jest. Of course.
Right. Moving on. We got the war on Assange. Assange is the founder and creator of WikiLeaks, which recently just came under attack from our own FBI, CIA, NSA, from the new director of the CIA, Pompeo, basically stating that we're going to stop the leaks. This also came from Attorney General Sessions, who said the same thing. Excuse me, saying that we got to stop all leaks within the government. And we're going to find the people who are leaking all this information, which just happens to be Assange. But to that, you know, going back to the debates with Trump and Hillary, you know, during the second debate, Trump was all about, you know, hey, this was all this information is coming from WikiLeaks. well, Assange is such a great guy and everything, but now, a couple months later, you have his administration going after the guy that he so praised just a few months ago, and so it's. I really don't. I don't really agree with.
It's a double standard.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Here's the thing, and this is getting lost in the sauce here. Yes, he praised Assange for his release of the
DNC
emails.
stuff and emails.
Yes, because I mean, Assange is essentially a whistleblower by proxy.
Right.
He's not actually,
The whistleblower, right?
Well, he's not the guy taking the information and stealing it and then sending it out into the world.
Given it.
He is a publisher of sorts, a broker, as it were. People are sending him information. And by the way, I did hear that a lot of the sources that he had were right out of the DNC
FBI,
office. Yeah,
yeah.
right out
Yes.
of DNC. That's why they asked for everybody's resignation. But he's basically getting this information and then returning it back to the public where it belongs. We need to know this stuff. Now, is he doing something against the law? Probably. If I was the president, would I actively pursue
He's
him?
releasing confidential.
Yeah, he is,
material.
in a sense, breaking the law. They need to go after the people who are actually getting the information to him and for him. That's the real crime. That's the real leakers.
Right.
Now,
Because I can see him just setting up his organization to be like, if you receive anything, just go ahead and just push. Just get it out.
yeah, I mean, if somebody sent me Hillary Clinton's 30,000 emails, I guarantee you I'd put them out on the internet. That's probably the best way to save your life. But my point is that he's a conduit.
Right.
You know,
It's an illegal conduit,
for things that have been stolen
but
from
it keeps you anonymous.
yes, but the people who are actually stealing the information and getting it to them, they're the real criminals, and they're probably going to most likely be the
But
focus.
are they criminals?
Yes, I'm sorry. Even if they're stealing information and sending it out there that helps my side, I have to admit they
What
are
if it
being
just gets out corruption?
It's that's the problem. You're
Right,
faced
so
with being a law-abiding citizen. I want the corruption cleansed from our government. I want these holdovers from the
So-
last administration that are trying to involved in this coup. As far as I'm concerned with Trump, I want them flushed out. I want the information on them. I
So
want
you
someone
can't
to blow
flush them out without giving
Exactly,
out that
that's the
information.
problem. So what you have to do is someone has to be sacrificed on the altar of law and order.
So where does the line get drawn at from a whistleblower to someone breaking the law? Because I think this is the ultimate line in the sand. When it comes to this, are they leaking troop movements? Are they leaking upcoming operations within the government?
Well-
or are they leaking the corruption that's happening within?
Well, whistleblowers do have certain protections under the law. It's
Right.
it's minor, not much, but they do have protections in the law. Now, if you release an information that Senator so-and-so is having an illicit affair with the lobbyist to big pharmaceutical,
Okay.
and they're in the middle of some big deal, that's corruption. Like you say, if you release information that the Carl Vinson task force is going to be pulling into the South China Sea at 0600 on Thursday, that's different.
Right.
That's sensitive.
Now that's person. This is where the line I see. You started leaking out troop
Or
movements.
what
You should
about-
go to the brig instantly.
What about Edward Snowden when he released all the PRISM stuff, where he's like, NSA is looking through all your stuff?
See, again, that goes back to he's a whistleblower, but he also signed a contract. And he was also
Saying he won't release confidential
yeah,
stuff.
that he would when you
But
get
he's
your
spying on
security
everybody.
when you get your security clearance, you swear to them that you won't release this information. But then at some point you have a moral obligation when they
Yes,
are
yeah.
spying on the entire country. You it's a personal decision. I mean, maybe he's going to wind up in jail for it. Maybe he's just going to be stuck in Russia for the rest of his life for it.
Or whatever.
Like Assange. Now, if nothing else, I have to say the guy has sacrificed his life.
He's
Yes.
going to be in a...
He is going to wind up living in an Ecuadorian embassy for the rest of his life,
If they still the
or
elections,
whoever he's
yeah,
in. But I mean,
because the presidential elections.
so
will be
there was
taking place
no
soon.
personal gain in that. Was his cause noble? It's starting to appear that way to me, that he has done this as a noble cause, and he's paying a much higher price for it than I think he wanted to. But he's in it now.
He's in for the long haul.
He's in for the long haul. He has to be. I mean, they've all but said. I mean, Hillary Clinton joked about putting a tomahawk through the window.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And when Hillary Clinton says, "I want to put a cruise missile through that guy's window," yeah, you pucker up.
No,
because that's serious.
That's right.
That's not a joke. Hillary Clinton doesn't strike me as a woman with a lot of humor.
No.
No, I mean, we did watch
drone
that one.
strike him. That's what she wanted.
Drone
to-
strike him.
Yeah. How can we just can't drone strike him already?
So-
Well,
so-
ma'am, unfortunately, you know, it's against laws and everything
You're
else.
going to be
you know.
bombing an embassy and
Yeah.
It's the whole embassy, killing a foreign national, that kind of stuff. You know, those things that she doesn't worry about, like rules and laws.
oh no, she doesn't get tried for anything. So
It's above the law. What you got, Ian?
No, I mean, I'm someone that I think what they're doing is a great thing. Maybe against the law, but just because it's a law doesn't make it right.
Agreed. That's kind of where I was headed with that, and I understand what you're saying, but I'm torn on where that line is.
I completely understand that. Like, I love my country. Like, me and Shane were talking about this. I love my country. If I needed to, I'll die for my country. Not a huge fan of the government. Not a huge fan of, you know, even though we've all known the CIA watches our every move, but now it's getting proven.
Right.
Not a huge fan of that. You know,
I don't think anybody really is.
you know, I tell people this all the time. Like, these people that hate us in the world is for a reason. It's not just out of nowhere. You know, I mean, our government's done some shady stuff, still do shady stuff. But like I said, I love my country, and if the fact that this man did put his life on the line to expose a lot of this stuff, I'm grateful for it. But like you said, there's that fine line. Like,
Right, exactly. And it ultimately comes down, like George says, your moral obligations. Where's your morals lie? You know, is just like now, a new WikiLeaks dump just came out recently saying that Samsung TVs are actually spying on you. You know, for the longest time, I was considered a nut. You know, a psycho. Like, like, are you even possibly thinking about this? You know. And it's like, yes, even the iPad is listening to us and everything else. So,
God, can you imagine what Samsung TVs have seen?
yeah, I know.
Those poor technicians, they couldn't pay me enough to watch in the
Well,
other direction.
and that's how the government spies on you, folks. It's not a direct.
They're not going to tell you.
Right. It's not a direct. It's always through third-party agencies, organizations. You know, through Apple, through Samsung, through.
By forcing companies to provide them with an access to something.
To allow them to sell it.
Well, and then that was why CISA got passed and not CISPA that got rejected. If you remember, like, I forgot when it actually was happening, but you know, you saw WikiLeaks, you saw not WikiLeaks, but Wikipedia and Google and everything else fighting against CISPA because they weren't protected at the time. Now CISA came out and these agencies are protected, so when they sell or give up your information to the government, they're not going to get the blowback from it. So that's the whole reason behind that. That's why it's okay for everybody to spy on you at every given point, you know, no matter what you're doing. Sit in your underwear watching TV, they're watching you for, you know.
And that's the best you can hope for if you're watching through that TV.
Exactly. So that's my whole thing is the war on Assange. I think we should bring him in, have him help us, you know, try to combat all these leaks and stuff like that.
I don't know. I think
Maybe, I don't know, but
I think he's the best place he can be. He's there. I want him continuing to release things that we need to know about.
Right.
Is it wrong? Probably. Is it beneficial? Definitely.
Well, definitely, yeah. And knowledge is power, and that's what the government is
The
holding.
knowledge doesn't want anybody to know.
Well, exactly.
Right.
You know, but with the power being released to everybody, now everybody knows. And those who conspiracy theorists, you know, are now proven right. And again, for the umpteenth time already, and it feels great. It feels great, man, because I got ridiculed for so long, you know, by family members and friends. You know, like how can you even fathom that? You know, and here it is. It's out there.
True.
It's
I
true.
used to have a crazy uncle that we used to make fun of, and he
Yeah,
was
now-
reasonably
now-
paranoid. Now he's more right than he was wrong. But it's just, yeah. And I'm the last one to buy into conspiracy because part of me doesn't want it to be true. I don't want to think that the federal government is watching me through my TV or my Xbox or whatever. I don't want to think that. I want them to be benevolent. I want them to be smaller government. I want them to be smaller. I
the
want
key,
them to
yeah.
worry about things I want them to worry about. And I don't want them worrying about me
yeah.
or you or any of us. I want them worrying about terrorists. I want them watching the borders. I want them making sure that all the equipment in the military is tip top, ready to go all the time.
Right.
You know, I don't want them looking into my living room wondering what I'm talking about, because with technology today, I'll tell you what we're talking about. We're sitting right here.
Exactly. And one final thing, before we get off the subject, Assange says, "Why are they focusing in on me when you have problems in North Korea, Syria, the Middle East, everywhere else, and the CIA is focusing in on me?" You know, so
just a distraction. They're always about misdirection.
Moving, yeah.
It's a magician. Look at this hand. Ooh, flowers out of this one. That kind of thing. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
You know, they won't talk about him in a week, and they'll be talking about something else. And like little puppies, will just follow along the news stream.
Well, the reason why they're talking about Assange right now is because the CIA director called him out, and then he bashed the CIA director.
Right. Exactly.
And basically blew out a whole bunch of stuff on the CIA director, and was like,
yeah, I would.
Well, let's get him.
I would say if I was in a high office in the government, I think I'd be really careful about bad-mouthing Assange, because he seems to have more information on everybody than the people he claims have all the information.
Exactly. So, yeah, exactly. Pick your fights.
Exactly. And if you're going to pick a fight with Assange, make sure you don't have a mistress and a drug habit, you know?
Or whatever else you got going
You're
on.
not doing anything that no one knows about.
Exactly. So, again, before we switch gears, share the link, share the site, buy the shirts, help support the broadcast. We're growing exponentially, and it just feels so good to be talking about this stuff to you folks, just to get the truth out there, and it's just on another level. Like, I come here, and it's really therapy. Like I think I told Ian, this is really therapy for me. It's my weekly dump. After the show, I go home. I sleep great, you know. So. But we'll get into George's thing. We're going back to Berkeley. So
either one. Do his.
I'll make mine quick. So mine is just about the budget and the home stuff. So the budget that tried to get passed, of course, the Democrats didn't want to pass it because Trump had his hand in it. So he had his fund the budget wall for like 1.9 billion in it, which was like 0.0035% of the budget.
Right.
And they didn't want it to pass because of that.
Well, just because of the wall, you know.
It had the wall in there. They're like, we don't want to pay for a wall.
Even though in 2006,
I know, all the ex-presidents.
every one of these guys, Schumer, Pelosi, Reid,
Clinton, Obama,
they all voted for the wall. But now, for some reason, when Trump wants to build a wall, it's offensive.
Right.
You know, well, when they wanted to do it, they were behind it. They needed the money for it.
So he was talking about
Because the wall would never probably been built. It's just more money in their pockets, you know.
Yeah, so he was talking about if he was just going to pull that little section out of the bill or the thing, that they'll pass it.
Yeah, but he can't stand down.
It's still
he can't stand down. Right. This is the point where Trump needs to hold his ground, and he backs down and is just going to continue down the path of.
So if he holds true to just putting that $1.8 billion or $1.9 billion into that federal budget for the year, it comes out it's only 0.0035% of the budget for this year. Then they'll hold it to where it'll close the government.
Yeah. So like I said, he can't waver from this.
We have to understand this is a campaign promise from Trump. He cannot let this slide. This is he started his campaign with the phrase, "I'm going to build."
Literally.
The government's not going to shut down. Every time they claim the government shuts down, you know what they do?
They bump the debt ceiling and crabs.
No, they shut down the parks.
They shut down the parks. They stopped giving tours at the White House and crazy little petty stuff like that. You know, they start going, well, we won't be able to mail out seniors, citizens, their Social Security checks. You know what? If the government shuts down, I got an idea. How about you stop flying senators around to different cities to interview or to just get them off their junkets? How about we just send all those lazy
things
home? Let's just send them home. Quit threatening to shut down Social Security and museums,
the VA and everything.
And mass transit. They always go to the.
They try to hurt the public.
They hurt the public.
Absolutely.
You know, that's not shutting the government down. That's hurting people to prove a point, and the Democrats do that every single time.
Because they're so loving.
It's going to happen.
They're so loving.
I mean,
I
The
don't know.
government could shut down for a week. I doubt any of us would notice.
No.
Well, notice if the checks started coming in, stopped coming in. I mean,
Those are all auto. I mean, they got machines that do that.
yeah, that's true too. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right, so-
we'll see what happens with the budget. I think
That's just
our,
the brief take on it.
right, exactly. Our whole thing is that he can't waver from this. Like George said, it is a campaign.
It's a campaign promise. He
you know?
cannot fail at this because the people that put him in office, they put him in office because the first words out of his mouth is, "I'm going to build a wall."
That was it. I'm building a wall. And go ahead.
I don't understand how people could be against it.
Well, because they find it offensive, they find it hurtful. You know, it's just basic stuff where they think that by not letting anyone and anybody in, you know, that we're going to be hurting their lives, you know, and so they don't prosper like
Come
we
to the
do.
country the right way.
Well, I got one better for you. Do you lock your door at night when you go home?
Yeah.
Why? That offends me that you lock your front door at night.
You should leave it wide open for
Yeah.
anybody.
Why do you
But-
lock it? You should leave your door unlocked.
Yeah.
I find it offensive that you lock your door. Actually, I think it's kind of racist.
And I wouldn't care.
But see, my point is that's how stupid the argument is.
I know.
Yeah. And it's hard to argue with somebody whose point is so ludicrous that it makes no sense. So
Well, I'm just sick of this. I'm sick of the wall. I'm sick of the whole ban on the certain Muslim countries to come over. Like it needs, they need to regulate it. There is a problem.
well, they
Like-
only want to regulate us
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
how much butter you eat and how much
Right.
sugar you get in your soda. You can just let anybody in.
Yeah, and it's like, it frustrates the heck out of me. Right. I'm sure you guys have been around. I'm new, so I'm sure you guys have been down this road plenty
We've
of
had
times.
this discussion a
But
hundred
it
times.
does. It's like they even offered to build a wall with solar panels across it, so it's pay for itself pretty much. Oh no, that's still not good. Like I said, if you want to come to this country, I'm all for it. I love anybody that's coming here and contributing and working hard, but come the right way, like everybody else has to. You know,
Right. The legal way.
like my grandmother's an immigrant from Ireland. You know, she came over the right way. You know, she
Yeah.
didn't, you know, it's like there's ways of doing it. There's steps to doing it, and I don't know. It's just
It's just
it's
a little
it's
tougher when you got to
frustrating.
cross an ocean as opposed to a desert.
yeah, I agree.
That's a long trip. That's a couple days worth in comparison to maybe a couple hours or wherever you're coming from south of the border. So yeah, it's just crazy. Has to take a stand for this. He can't waver from it. So we're going to George's super snowflake storm.
Well, actually, this is a bit of a departure. I'm going to do something I haven't done probably ever. I'm going to actually compliment and heap praise on a liberal. And as we go through it, you'll understand.
Some of them do turn every now and then.
Well, it's not that he turned. He's.
The common
I
sense
hate
kicks in.
hypocrisy, even though I'm probably the biggest offender of it at times. But I hate people who say one thing and do another. HBO's real-time host Bill Maher heavily
Oh, yeah, I
criticized
heard this.
liberals
Yeah.
and the University of California at Berkeley on a show Friday after the school decided this week to cancel an upcoming talk by Ann Coulter and then later re-invited her. Coulter's speech, which was scheduled for April 27th, was canceled over concerns that her presence on campus would trigger another series of violent protests, as if the speaker causes the protests.
Well, that's the same with Milo. Remember?
Yeah,
Milo-
exactly.
It is the speaker causes the protest.
Yes, they cause the violence. Something the city of Berkeley has become accustomed to in recent months. The school later reissued the invitation to Coulter, this time for May 2nd, a time when students are busy studying for final exams or have already gone home for summer, which we all know that the anarchists are not there to study for exams anyway, so it won't make a difference. And she's scheduled, I heard on the TV that she says she still plans to show up on Thursday like originally invited, and that's just it. She's going to show up, and I'm looking forward to see how that works out.
It's-
To Bill Maher's credit, he said this on his show, and this is a quote, and I'm going to bleep it for you. But like I said, I don't like the guy. His politics and I were completely at odds, but at least he isn't a hypocrite about this. He said, Berkeley used to be the cradle of free speech, and now it's just a cradle for effing babies. Okay, that is perfect, because I remember that the 60s, it was the right that was supposedly all oppressive and wouldn't let the left speak out, or the hippie movement and the free love movement. And knowing a little bit about the 60s and having grown up with people who were there, I kind of understand why they felt that way. We had conformists and nonconformists. Now it's completely flip-flopped. Now the left is in charge, and they do not want to hear the right say anything. It's funny, we're always, those of us on the right are always accused of being oppressors.
Right.
Actually, every conservative I've ever met has always said, I don't care what you do with your life. Live your life. Be happy.
Just follow the rules, man.
Yeah, just follow the rules and don't cost me any money.
Right.
You know, you
Leave
want
me
to
alone.
You want to get married. You want to get married to somebody who looks just like you, has the same plumbing. Cool. I don't want rub in my face. I don't want to hear about it. Live your life.
Yeah, don't.
And it's become the
my
exact
kids.
opposite. Now they're telling. Now the left is the arbiters of free speech. They're the ones who will regulate what can and cannot be talked about. Anyway, Bill Maher explained that it is not an issue. Okay, this is not an issue isolated to Berkeley. What, I say it all wrong?
No.
No, keep going.
Yeah.
The focus was off.
Oh. Yeah. Hey, you wait 20 years, see how your eyes are doing.
Oh, trust me, I already got plastic in mine, so that's fine.
Well, so do I. But anyway, according to him, the colleges across the country are canceling talks because conservative speakers don't offer opinions and ideas that are exactly what liberals want to hear. And that's what it gets right down to it. Liberals want you to come in. You have free speech provided you say exactly what I want you to say and the way I want you to say it.
Or else you can't say it.
Yeah. Bill Maher, I can't say his name, Maher, he's actually been a victim of this. He was supposed to speak at Berkeley 2 years ago, and they disinvited him, and he threw a fit. And here's some of the things that he said that made him unacceptable. Oh, by the way, he did call what the Berkeley's doing as their version of book burning.
And it's absolutely true.
He also went on to tear former Governor Howard Dean, who alleged earlier this week that hate speech isn't protected by the First Amendment. He said, and I quote, "Yes, it is. Threats are not protected by the First Amendment. That's why the Supreme Court said Nazis could march in Skokie. They're a hateful bunch. But that's what the First Amendment means. It does not mean shut up and agree with me." So I give the guy credit. As much as I find him distasteful, he is consistent. And he understands that what his side has always said is that free speech is important, and he's sticking to it. I give him credit for that.
Because if they shut down Coulter or Marr or Milo and everybody else, that means our free speech is going to get affected.
Well,
and it's going to be just like 1984.
Well, you'll have more liberals jumping to the other side.
Well, every time they try to squash a speaker, they create more enemies to them.
Absolutely.
Now, what they don't understand is if the communists and the Marxists never ever understand until it's too late is that when they squash somebody else's free speech, somebody else's freedom of religion, somebody else's right to choose or live their life because it's not like what they approve of, they forget that at some point in their life, somebody's not going to approve of their way of life.
And that's true, and this is going to be a
and
revolution.
once you've set that standard where someone can come in and say, you can't say that, someone can come to you and say, you can't say that. And then the person who said that, someone will say that to them, and pretty soon nobody's talking, and then next thing you know, we're living in North Korea.
That's absolutely true. But just like how we were doing the comparison of how it was then with the hippies and everything, the free love group, now it's switched, and the conservatism is now the new trend. You know.
Well, the conservatives are the new party of live and let live.
Yeah.
You know, do your thing, I'll do mine. You know, make love, not war. You know, all those things. We've become the party of you know, however you want to live your life is fine. If you want to be gay, you want to be polygamist, we're like, fine, whatever. You know, the thing, all we ask is, don't tell me how to live my life. Yeah. You know, if two guys or two women want to get together and get married and have a family and raise a decent, law-abiding, Judeo-Christian family, I'm fine with it. Or whatever religion, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
My point is that's fine.
Maybe.
They don't even have to be conservative. They can be liberals.
Yeah.
But what I don't want is them come to me and tell me how to raise my family, how to live my life.
Right.
I'm not doing it to them. They don't get to do it to me.
Don't influence my kids. That's above all. Don't influence the kids.
Schools should be, they should be as, to me, everyone should wear a uniform and everybody should look the same. and it should be a place of learning and
Neutral place.
yeah, neutral.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any individuality until you get to middle school, because that's when you really start to become an individual anyway. When you're in the 3rd grade, you're just trying not to eat paste, and
How true is that?
you're just trying to get the kids to count to 5 and not eat glue.
I guess the guys who are laughing probably tried to a couple
Well,
times.
no, the ones with kids.
Yeah, right.
A conservative commentator on the show, S.E. Coop, also said that it's a shame. Liberals are creating a fantasy land on college campuses that do not exist in the real world. And
that's
that is
exactly
the problem. These kids that are in college right now, someday they're going to be running companies. God forbid.
Yeah.
That's even if they get that far.
They're going to run, well, what they'll do is they'll all run for office, because that's the only job you can get where you don't have to have any requirements, i.e., pick the last president or two. You don't actually have to, there's a job you don't have to have any qualifications for.
Right.
Any one of us right now could run down and become school board member.
Yeah.
We could run for mayor. And all we got to do is be charismatic, not belch on camera, and we could
have
get,
someone tell you what to say.
pretty much, they're like actors.
They really are. They're all a bunch of actors. Even, you look at some of the news anchors to a certain extent.
Oh, man.
Well,
They
one-
just all read from telegrams and
Teleprompters, yeah.
teleprompters.
Well, some of the things that Bill Maher said, I wanted to get at it, because I do find him humorous. When he does his comedy, I think he's pretty good. When he does his
Political talk
his
and
political
stuff.
talk, we disagree, and I don't last very long. I change the channel. But he said, this is one of the things that got him disinvited from Berkeley, was he said, dealing with Hamas is like dealing with a crazy woman who's trying to kill you. You can only hold her wrist so long before you have to slap her.
Yeah.
Now that's comedy and political satire at the same time. I get it. I find that hilarious because it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all had a crazy woman in our life. As men, we're not supposed to smack them. But if she's trying to stab you with scissors, you got to. But just saying that offends so many people. It offends women. It offends crazy people. Heck, it might even offend scissors. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, what's your take, Ian, on the whole banning of the free speech that it seems to come to be?
So, first of all, I used to live out there. I live right next door to Berkeley. Worst city I've ever freaking been in. But it's, I don't know. I mean, you guys pretty much hit it on point. Sides have reversed.
It really has, right?
And I find that very, very peculiar that the people, we've been accused of being the oppressors for so long, and here we are trying to tell people, no, be free, do what you want. But that includes me too.
Yeah.
And they don't want it to include us.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like we want gay rights. Okay, fine. But you guys need to teach it in schools also. Okay, hold on. Like, live your life the way you want to live it. Like you said, school needs to be neutral. But it's never enough, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, and we discovered this back in the 80s and 90s when this first political correctness thing really started to get some traction. It wasn't enough to tolerate. They were basically saying you had to tolerate and embrace. Well, I don't want to embrace every attitude somebody else comes up with.
Yeah.
I'll tolerate
if
your
that's
attitude.
The case,
Read some of the comments here.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've had about. Turn it real quick.
I got it.
Okay, so they can, depending on the teacher, maybe the kids can read count past 5.
Start right here.
Sorry, it wasn't an affront towards any teachers. I'm sure that you're dealing with a large pile of Play-Doh and you're trying to mold little minds out of it. And it's got to be a tough job.
And then Deborah.
Yeah.
I think she's talking to you about this comment.
White guilt.
White guilt.
Yeah. So, man, we missed a lot of comments. Sorry.
Yeah, we were busy. We got on a roll. Is that white guilt or white glue?
It says
Guilt.
White guilt.
Guilt, same thing. Same thing. We've got to choke it down.
And then what did
No,
Will
some of
say?
the other things like Bill Maher said, and this is where I kind of really got on board with him. He says you have to understand, you have to embrace the values of Western civilization. They are not just different; they are better. And this is referring to the refugee thing. I mean, people come here and they come to our country and they don't want to embrace our culture and the things that made us great. They come here bringing their poverty with them and their
lifestyle,
and then that they're fleeing from. They get here and then insist that we adopt
because it was good.
adopt what they fled from. No, you fled here because this place is great.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, Irish. My family comes from Ireland. I'm pretty sure, and I've been to Ireland. It's a beautiful place, but I'm sure it's still better to live here.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, for a bottle of water, it's like $8.
Well, that's true.
You know,
in Ireland.
But I mean,
Yeah,
a couple hundred years
when
ago,
I-
it can't not have been a pleasant place to live.
when I flew there from Iraq.
Well, it depends on where you bought it from.
No, you buy it from the airport, it's $8. So
Yeah.
You buy everything in the airport, it's $8.
So,
They got
okay.
their own economy in there. A tuna fish sandwich is $27.
Right, exactly. So I mean, $8. You go to the economy, it's probably $5. You know,
I
that's
don't know, I went to
still
Ireland.
cheaper.
Ireland's good. The best thing about Ireland, the Guinness. Yeah,
And it's super green.
I have so much family that lives and I haven't had an opportunity to go there.
you got to go.
You gotta go,
If
man.
you
At
can
least
only go to one
once in a
country, you got to go to
lifetime.
Ireland.
Yeah.
like a pilgrimage to Mecca or something.
One other thing I wanted to touch on before we go is that the New York City mayor this week.
Was he resigning and giving it to Hillary?
No, but that,
Oh.
that's actually I'm surprised. I'll bet you somebody threw that around in a strategy meeting. I guarantee you. No, he decided he's going to raise the pack of cigarettes from $10.50 to $13 a pack. Woo! This is all designed to get people to stop smoking because cigarettes and tobacco are so bad. Well, if they're so bad, just make it illegal and make everybody stop. They keep putting the money on it because it's a cash cow.
It has so much money.
As soon as you tax something, you never get rid of it.
No, exactly.
And they also, actually in here, I won't go to it because it's a lot of paragraphs, but they basically compared it to a pack of cigarettes in ISIS-controlled territory, which are cheaper than they will be in New York. It is cheaper to get cigarettes in an ISIS-controlled city than it is to get them in New York City if Comrade de Blasio gets his $13 a pack. I don't even know how many packs of cigarettes come in a carton. I can't even imagine what a carton of cigarettes costs.
$5,000.
It's a credit application. Now think about it. The liberal Democrats in New York want to raise the price of cigarettes, but yet this guy Eric Gardner,
Right.
the guy who was killed because the police tried to arrest him for selling Lucy's, which is single cigarettes. So basically, what they're doing is they're making it more likely that more people will sell single cigarettes, which is illegal, as opposed to packs because nobody can afford a pack of cigarettes.
Right.
Thereby making the police arrest more people who are poor by this little measure of we're gonna raise the price of cigarettes because we know it's better for you. We are going to put more poor black people into positions of getting arrested through our good intentions. Every time the liberals try to do something, all they seem to do is hurt the very people they're trying to
Absolutely.
help.
I agree 100%.
If a liberal decides that you didn't want to bake a cake for a gay couple, and they want to smash your business, you wind up getting better business out of it. They are the worst at this. I don't understand why they. I mean, if cigarettes are terrible, and I don't approve of smoking, but I don't care if you do. Again, back to
Thank you.
if you want to smoke, go ahead. They're your lungs. You only get a set. Fuel them
Thank
the
you.
best you can. But if you get sick, you get lung cancer, don't have insurance, don't look to me to help you with your bills.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but my point is, they'll raise if it's so bad and it's so illegal or so unhealthy, just make them illegal. But by making them $13 a pack, all they're doing is encouraging that one guy who says, I was going to bootleg some cigarettes into New York and I'm going to smuggle them, but not at $10 a pack, but at $13 a pack, I'll take
do
that
it.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine what a semi-truck full of cigarettes must be worth now? More than gold.
You imagine that thing like in a wreck or something, it just explodes open.
Oh, you'd be picked to pieces by the population. You'd be looted before the ambulance got there, because cigarettes.
So
they're
how
making
much does a
cigarettes.
cigarette go for in jail then?
Oh, I don't even want to know. I really don't even want to know.
Yeah, because I don't think it's money wise.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other economic system there that I don't want to know anything about.
But like you're saying, it has nothing to do with the people. They're full of shit.
No, it's not about it. It's not
Because
about.
McDonald's, you get is just as bad for you as
Yeah, exactly.
It's been
You're
proven.
spending,
But it's $1 for a cheeseburger,
Right. If they were really about helping people get better, they would.
But controls, but
You know what? If people want to eat quarter pounders with cheese, 2 of them. That's the only way you should order them, 2 at a time. And smoke cigarettes and drink sugared coffee or sugar flavored Coke. Do it.
So
It's your
George.
life.
Yeah, exactly.
just
But-
show George. It's his Al's your cousin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, we'll continuing on. There's
I'll talk to you about that in person.
Okay, but there's a lot of and this is the liberals' way of controlling people. Again,
But it's not about control. It's a money grab. If it was control, they'd shut it off completely.
No, it's control through increasing the money. So they control you by having the prices so high that then the police have to come in and then arrest you for selling the loosies, and it's just more control. So now you have more people dependent on the system than ever, because now you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't make a living selling a cigarette, then
Yeah, exactly. So now
guess
I have no choice but to get on welfare and become part of the combine.
Actually, I'm more likely to go the other direction. The guy who's like, okay, I can't make any money selling loosies anymore. I'm just going to go hijack that truck. I'm going to go rob that tobacco stand.
Or that could be the
All
other
I got to
part.
do is steal 3 or 4 cartons of cigarettes, and I got my rent.
Yeah, until you
Oh,
start
that's
getting
easy.
caught.
Yeah, but my
Exactly.
point is, by raising the price of a pack of cigarettes, they're not doing anything health concern wise. It's all about making more money for the city of New York,
Absolutely.
and making it harder on the low income people of that city.
Exactly.
Well,
You
it's
know?
to cover basically the closing down of all the stores in New York.
Well, yeah, the retail market just took a huge dump again.
Yes, but
this
everybody
week,
in the world can go to Amazon. Everyone's got one of
Yeah.
these. The poorest guy in this country. Our poverty is not like poverty in other parts of the world.
Well,
Our
exactly.
poverty is a fat guy sitting on the couch with a cell phone playing Xbox,
Yeah.
eating a bag of Cheetos. Poverty in some other African nation has a kid laying in a gutter with flies all over him. That's the difference.
We're living
We
in
don't
a
have
hut.
poverty. Our poor people live better than most people.
No, I agree. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
they get free hospital visits.
I've seen
free
it.
free jail rides sometimes.
Yeah, well, you know.
Shelters with food and
But my point is that the Democrats, they're constantly falling victim to these unintended consequences. I'm going to raise the price of cigarettes
Well,
to $13 a pack. What? There's more crime on the street selling singles cigarettes?
Yeah.
I wonder how that happened. They're always caught unaware when one of their programs causes more problems than it's
It's
supposed
just
to
like
fix.
the Philadelphia soda tax that they implemented this year.
Okay, yes.
They implemented a soda tax in Philadelphia. You go buy a pack of soda for $6. With all the taxes afterwards, it raised that pack of soda that was $6 to about like $10. All of a sudden, they saw like a 50-60% sale decline in soda.
Well, yeah. Why would you go buy a $10 case of soda? When you can go probably to what was it,
So,
New York or something, buy
Yeah,
it cheaper.
and then just bring it across.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was
You
Pepsi.
go and start smuggling soda to
Or
Pennsylvania,
that was
and then
starting
start
to happen.
smuggling.
That's already starting to happen. People would go and
cigarettes
do
into New York.
a soda run across the same border. Just bring back a
It's
ton of
crazy.
soda for like the whole neighborhood or whatever.
I mean, this is like prohibition back in the 20s.
So and then Pepsi actually cut like 50% of its
Crazy.
production in Philadelphia, and they fired a whole bunch of workers at their plants.
Right. So what happens is the production or the consumption of Pepsi goes down in Philadelphia because of the
The
taxes.
consumption of all soda.
Of all soda goes down. So then people start driving across the border to buy it by the truckload to bring it back.
Yeah.
Okay, here's how I would do it, and I know where you're going. If I was in
Yeah.
Philadelphia, I'd buy a truckload of cigarettes, drive it to New York, buy soda, drive it back to Philadelphia.
There you go, yeah.
And you could be making boatloads
make
of
it
money.
bank both ways. You'd never have to deadhead to the next city. And how great would that be? You can stop at the rest stop, crack a soda, have a smoke. It's entertainment too. I mean, they're turning it into a black market enterprise. And as if I was a resident out there, at $13 a pack, my goodness, I would consider it.
And you're almost making about 40% profit on soda if you go across.
Yeah.
I'd get a shop right there on State Line, and this side of the store you could buy cigarettes, and that side of the store you could buy soda, and then there'd be tables in the middle so you could do both.
But it's like they're killing their economy over greed, pretty much,
Right.
because they're not trying to help people, and just giving, like you said, more business to the criminals, the black market.
Well,
Criminals will make money off of anything.
Well, first off, as soon as you understand the fact that the liberals and the Democrats only see people as ATM machines, that's all they see us as. They're not here to help us. When's the last time a liberal came out with a program that worked? I guarantee you it costs money. It doesn't work, but I guarantee it costs you.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't cost you, you have to give up something to do it.
Or it's just like that picture you posted.
Detroit,
Tell
Texas.
tell people about that.
Yeah, seen. I forgot who posted it. I just shared it, but it showed a picture of Detroit and a picture of Texas. One of the cities in Texas. I don't know, Dallas maybe. And it said Detroit's been ran by liberals, and Texas has been ran by conservatives.
Right. You
And
see
it showed-
how the stark comparison between the two. You know, it's like night and day. You have Detroit, which has been bankrupt
For years
now.
yeah.
You know, and then Detroit. You have Dallas flourishing. You know, you got thousands of people coming into the city. Moving from everywhere in the United States into Dallas, you know.
Mainly northeast or east side is moving west.
Right.
More and more every year.
I mean, you can tell by license plates that are, you know, here. You know, you have New York, which is like, who the hell's from New York wants to come to Vegas? You know, you got people from.
The same people that are from LA.
Yeah, so you got Californians moving in. You got pretty much everybody from, you know, the coastal cities moving to.
So. I'm gonna
Nevada
cut you
and
off.
no, it's
But-
fine. And
So
Texas.
what is the reason? Why can't people see this?
That is the question I have been pondering for many years. I don't understand how the liberal Democrat thinks. They have to be able to see the end result. I mean, whether the evidence is empirical or hardcore statistics, they have to see that it doesn't work. But I fall back on what they say about socialism. The reason it's failed everywhere else is because it hasn't been tried here. That's their logic. Well, just one more try.
One more try.
One more try.
But then that's ignorance, and that's the veil across their eyes that they choose not to see it through. You know, they don't want to see all the bad stuff that goes along with communism and socialism and stuff like that. They don't want to see, everybody gets everything free, but they don't want to see the actual dark side of it. You know, they choose not to look into Korea. They choose not to look into Venezuela.
How long did it take for Venezuela to become communism?
Overnight. In the
took like a year.
In the timeline of things, it's pretty much overnight. You know.
Because he ended up taking complete power by kicking out Congress.
Right.
He started forcing his own people to work on
This
farms
is
to feed the
president
country.
of Venezuela, by the way.
Maduro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's
The bus
forcing,
driver.
yeah, he's forcing people to work in his own country. He's kicked out Congress, so now he just calls shots for everything.
But the funny thing is, this is a country with a huge oil reserve.
And now they're
They
like one
should
of the
be
poorest.
wealthy. They can't.
Russia just actually held like a $20 million supply of their oil because they couldn't pay Russia. So they can't even pay bills right now. Their export was like almost next to nothing.
And one of the things that you never hear about, and I did read it. I think it was on. It might have been FoxNews.com. Is that prior to the seizure of power, he very quietly confiscated all firearms in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do that because after you've seized all the firearms, then you're able to enforce laws that the people object to but can't do anything
You
about.
can't do anything about
So
it.
those of you out there that think the Second Amendment is useless, the Second Amendment is there to protect your First Amendment.
Right,
And all the other
exactly.
amendments too.
Nazi Germany, same thing.
Yeah, they always make
China,
guns illegal
North
because as
Korea.
soon as guns are in the hands
Indonesia.
of government, only the government will have guns.
Right.
And then the government becomes big.
Well, they
It
do what
takes
they
over.
want.
Yeah.
You know, the four of us can. If someone walks in that door right there, has a gun, and tells us he's in charge of everybody in this room, and we're unarmed, guess what? He's in charge.
It's just the way it goes.
You know. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I could never comprehend that. Like,
That has been one of the biggest things. How does the liberal mind work, and why can't they see the truth?
I
in
feel
it?
like there's just
They
like,
choose not to. That is a plain, bare bones answer. They choose not to see it until it's
well,
too
and
late.
just like when Bernie Sanders was running. Bernie, are you guys kidding me? That's worse than Hillary. You know what I mean?
Actually, he would have been worse than Hillary socially speaking. 'Cause He's a socialist.
Yeah.
But I think ethically, as much as I disagree with the guy, he might be honest. At least he's honest
And I
about
agree
being
with
a
you.
communist.
I agree with you.
Wait, I'm going to take that back. Like what I always say, a socialist is just a communist that doesn't have the guts to admit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a communist. I'm sorry, but at least he was honest about it. And he's misguided
Yeah.
completely. But Hillary is just rotten to the core.
Right.
No, and I agree with you 100%. I think he was a good man, but he would have ran this country into the ground.
Oh, it would have been 16 years of Obama
You know?
or
And-
worse.
But, I don't know.
So, again, folks, this has been a longer broadcast than we expected.
30 minutes, huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's good, though. I mean, we have different perspective from Ian, which recently just joined the crew. And maybe you might be seeing more. He's going to be sort of behind the scenes, so we'll have him pop in, here and there.
Well, we had to have somebody with a technological IQ that could help us here, because we were just bumping around in the
That's what
dark.
Vance is here for.
I mean, it tried for the most part. Got everything like here. It's just software stuff. I needed help with voice audio.
Yeah.
But I'm glad Ian's here to help us along the way, taking the stand for liberty, along with us. And you out there at home watching us, we do appreciate the support. So,
Want me to tell everybody?
go ahead.
Well, also in the future, probably the next couple days, less than a week, I'll be coming on in the mornings to just kind of give a little overnight view of things. Look for it. I'm going to call it the morning formation. It's going to be a little bit more geared towards the things happening in the military world. What task group is going where, what Korea's doing, things like that. Not so much the political thing, but just the aspect of it, that how it involves or affects our people in uniform. And just my way of helping the veterans and everybody in uniform that might listen, and just my way of saying thanks.
Right. And so look forward to that. That'll be also broadcast right here on the stand
Deep in
Facebook
this
page.
bunker.
Yes.
From this bunker, yes.
1,000 feet below. But anyways,
Oh, we got deeper.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to have the phalanx system put in, and then the radar systems, and then we'll be set.
Then I saw a SAM site on top somewhere.
There we go.
Just AAA.
Okay.
And so look forward to that. George's broadcast in the morning. And look for more broadcasts for myself. I like to throw those out once in a while.
Your minutes to midnight.
Yes. Well, not Minutes to Midnight. It was just titled at one. But just my perspective.
Well, that's a good title, though. You should go with that.
Yeah, Shane's minutes to midnight.
All right. There we go. More gaming right here on live on the broadcast. So,
Now I just gotta get one.
yeah, now you just got to get one and go on from there.
George's
So
Morning
look for that. Check out the website again, standshow.com. Support us, like us, and of course buy the 2 t-shirts that we have up. I want to get more up there, so then you have at least more variety than just 2 shirts. And for Ian, Lance, myself, and George, thank you so much for taking the stand for liberty tonight. See you guys next week, and God bless you and God bless America, folks.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Just give us a second. We'll cut out here shortly.